Hello, fellow old schoolers. Echo Greg here with another event recap. This one is from the 2025 Bootleggers Ball, put on by the Music City Old School Group out of Nashville. A fantastic group of guys. Amazing event, one of my favorites. I try and make it every year. So this event is kind of a two-parter. The main event is an Alpha 2 Alliances. If you're not familiar with Alpha 2 Alliances, it is, as the name entails, all cards from the sets Alpha 2 Alliances, using the EC rules as the base, so 4 strip binds. The only restricted cards are Demonic Consultation, as you can imagine why, another instant tutor, very good, and Mana Vault. So this format, just like EC, does allow the book promos, and because Mana Vault was a 1995 book promo, that is in between Alpha 2 Alliances, so it's in the format. So lots of good cards, lots of power added to the format. So you might have not familiar with it, might think, oh wait, Necro is not restricted. No, it is not. Necro is completely fine. There is a lot of red, a lot of burn in this format, between Incinerate and Guerrilla Tactics being added. If you're not familiar with Guerrilla Tactics, it's a 1 and a red instant, deal 2 damage, or if your opponent forces you to discard it, it deals 4 damage. So sort of like a red Psychic Purge, a little more expensive, does a little more damage, and a little less damage depending on the modes, but also is at instant speed, which is huge. Typically a sideboard card, but very good. And then the Mox Monkey as well, Guerrilla Shaman, that pops Moxes, but also is very good at taking out things like Ivory Tower, which the Necro deck needs to just not die. So people play Necro, it's a good deck, but it is not overwhelmingly good. It does not take over the format, so it's perfectly fine to be a 4 of. So with that being said, I will post a link to both the format rules and, for those of you not familiar with Music City Old School, to their site. You can take a look at all the events and things they put on. Again, fantastic group of guys. So for the main event, I was running a blue-based Eureka deck. So it's for the creature suite, 4 clones, 4 deep spawn, 4 Mahmodis, 1 Polar Kraken, and 4 Trikes, and then 4 Tinderwalls to help ramp out either one of the 4 or 6 drops, or preferably turn 2 Eureka, or sometimes even a turn 1 Eureka, depending on the other fast mana. It's got the power. I do not run Time Twister because, again, lots of red, lots of burn in the format. Don't want to just ramp them into a bunch of burn and die instantly. But Demonic Tutor, Regrowth, no Mind Twist, just because I do not enjoy playing Mind Twist. I always feel bad when I cast it and find myself apologizing, so lately I have just not been running it for the last 2 years. Definitely give up points, definitely lose games I could have won had I drawn it, but not here chasing wins, here to have fun, and so it's more fun for me not to play it. So if you're going to copy this deck and you are more interested in winning or like playing Mind Twist, find a spot to put it in there. Demonic Consultation, and then the fast mana, Lotus, the 3 color Moxes, Mana Crypt, and Soul Ring. And then Library and Sylvan Libraries. Force of Wills, with the high blue count from the creatures. Force of Will is good, and also a single mana drain in addition to protecting things. Also can let me ramp out a early creature. And in fact, in one of the games, it won me the game by being able to ramp into Mahamodi when I otherwise would have probably died. And then the land-based, everything produces green except for the 2 underground seas. Again, blue is also very important, so I want more lands producing blues. And then 3 Havenwood battlegrounds and 4 City of Brasses. The Havenwoods, again, are there to help ramp out either the big 6-drops or a very quick Eureka. In the deals, you could cast a Polar Kraken or a Deep Spawn with it, but those are a little tougher. In the sideboard, 1 Blue Elemental Blast and 2 Hydro Blasts. Again, lots of red running around. 4 Control Magics. Bring those in not only against decks that might also have big creatures, but lots of decks run Control Magic themselves, so bring in the Control Magics when I face against blue decks that I think might have Control Magics. So they steal one of my fatties and I steal it right back. And then 4 Psych Purge, again, Necro is a deck, him is a legal card. It's good to be able to just deal 5 damage out of nowhere. And then the Crypts are there for Reanimator, which gets a little boost in this format with Dance of the Dead as a second Reanimator card. So that was my deck for Saturday. Friday night was kind of a chill get together at Alan Finney's place. Usually for these events, the Friday night is a more structured tournament. They bounce between things like Classic. Classic is Alpha through Scourge, so basically Type 1 or Vintage, just before the borders changed and Mirrodin came out and drastically changed Magic with a lot of the cards that came out in Mirrodin. It's great format, a lot of fun to play. Sometimes they also run Middle School. If you're not familiar with Middle School but are familiar with Pre-Modern, it's very similar, although Middle School has a different ban list. For example, they allow Necro and Force of Will, but they ban Dark Ritual. They also allow Entomb, so a lot more shenanigans you can do in Middle School. But they also play with the rules of the time, so Mana Burn, damage on the stack, and the Wish rules work the way they used to. So that means if someone swords to plows one of your creatures, you can use a Living Wish to get it from exile and recast it, which is how it used to work, but it's not how the current rules work. So those are the big differences between Pre-Modern. Again, if you're interested, you can go to the Eternal Central website and find the rules and ban list. It also allows all cards in that time era. So the portal sets, the starter sets, anthology sets, those are all legal. So you get a slightly different card base. It allows for Lurin to be a very good deck because you get access to Imperial Recruiter, and it becomes just a 2-card combo to win the game because you can use the Recruiter to go search for the other combo pieces, and all you need is an Lurin and a Recruiter to go off if they can't disrupt you. And Hymns in the format as well because you get that in anthologies. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I do like Pre-Modern a lot, but I prefer Middle School because of the rules changes, especially Mana Burn. Mana Burn is one of my favorite rules, and I was really sad when it left Magic officially. So this event, the Friday night one, it was Classic, but it was very loose and unstructured. There were no tournament pairings. There was no list. It was basically find a partner, jam some games, and track how well you did. They gave us a brainstorm that we could tally wins and losses on, and then whoever had the highest wins and losses got a prize. So top finisher, lowest finisher, that was given out the following day. So some people were playing a lot of Classic. I played a few games. I think I went 2-2, but then I was just playing other things. Played some AAA, Alpha New Alliance Anti, played some Quest for Ice, played a sort of adventure of my own I call Ants, which I will probably do a video at some point, but short and sweet of it is, if you're familiar with the format Forgetful Fish or Dan, it's the similar thing but mono green using Yavimaya Ants as the creature, and then the back and forth is pump spells and fog effects / sandstorm, hailstorm type effects. So swinging in with the ants, does the opponent, do you want to use your pump spells aggressively or save them back in response? Do you drop a few spells and get blown out by a fog? It's a lot of fun. So played that with quite a few people. Made some adjustments and tinkers. So again, I'll probably do a video on that at some point. But that was Friday night. Great time. Had a blast. And then let's talk about Saturday. So again, here's the deck I played. Saturday was a 6-round event, an actual board structured tournament. So my round 1 was against fellow green aficionado Chris, or Mr. Miyagi on the Discord. He was playing a white-based living plane deck that also splashed black for the 2 power black cards and Fallen Angel. So mana ramping in birds and elves, Acacian Javeliers to pair, also slowing down aggro, but also pairs really well with the living plane. Preacher, Sarah Angels, Fallen Angels. The tech with Fallen Angel is you can sack all your lands, kind of an alpha strike if you think the way is clear once you have a living plane in play. Sword Disenchant, Nature's Lure, fantastic ramp spell that Ice Age introduces. A single Ice Storm for problematic lands. Again, lands aren't too big of a deal with this deck because you can just remove them once you get Living Plane into play. 2 Summon Libraries, 3 Serrated Arrows, again, fantastic against aggro and really good with Living Plane in play. Soul Ring, Chaos Orb, Regrowth, and then the land package, running a full 4 strip mines. And the sideboard kind of has a transitional plan a little bit, going a little bigger with Trikes and Urnums, Spirit Link, Sandstorm for the Weenie matchups, Divine Offering and Dust to Dust for any shops or artifact heavy matchups, Cop Reds, Balance, Armageddon, 4th Disenchant, and a City in a Bottle for the Rug or Arabian heavy matchups. So Chris and I played. I took him down 2-0. Don't have too many details, but I do remember one of the games was very grindy. He had me locked down. I was close to death, and then I was able to get a Eureka off and overwhelmed him with what I had and won. So that was round 1. Started off 1-0, feeling pretty good. My round 2 opponent was Eric Limbacher. He was on a mono black zombies. So Eric's deck is there. Eric, I believe, finished 8th place, so he made the top 8. So congratulations to Eric. Well done. He beat me 2-1 in 3 games. Black is a struggle for the Eureka deck, especially running Hymns and Mind Twist. So he definitely did get some Mind Twists and Hymns on me, and those I think was what really put it off. He also had Terrors in order to take out my big blue creatures, Sinkholes to slow me down, and that Dreadbright there had PB1 game, which was kind of funny. So again, it's really cool to see these cards. Very kind of spicy deck here. It's not your typical mono black. You'll notice there's no Necropotence. It does have the Orders and Juzums, but it's running Gangrenous Zombies and Withering Wisps. So very, very cool deck. Cabal Ghouls and Zombie Masters. Very, very cool. So congrats to Eric. Great job on the day, and good job knocking me down a peg. So after round 2, I am 1-1. Moving into round 3 versus Dan, who is on a blue-white aggro. He called his deck the Wake, so he's got the typical package of Savannah Lions, White Knights over Pump Knights. But again, that's not necessarily a bad thing with lots of the weenie decks that are running around, Gorilla Shaman, things like that. You've got to keep your mana open. Serendib, Sarahs, Factories, Disenchants, Balance, swords. Once again, with Alpha Alliances, people get to start picking their art preferences. So he's got the Ice Age Disenchant and swords, which are my favorite art styles for the Disenchant and the swords. So always love to see that. Chaos Orb, 2 Sonic Blasts, 4 Force of Wills, some Portents, a Merchant Scroll, a Latnav's Legacy, Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, Time Twister, Lotus Pearl, and Sapphire proxies. Again, this is a completely proxy-free friendly event. Music City is very proxy-friendly, so that is welcome and a great thing to see, especially in these bigger events. Soul Ring, and then the land package, 3 strips, the white and blue lands, and then a library. So I was able to take Dan down 2-1. There was some grindiness trying to fight through his counter spells and his removal package in the swords, but I was able to eventually land bigger stuff. My stuff is all bigger than his, so got there in the end. Round 4, I do not have a deck pick. It was on Mike. He finished 7th overall, and he was on a blue-red counterburn from what I saw. So he took it in 3 games, 2-1. One game, he just... game 1, I was able to get a really good Eureka, and after I go through the list, I'll show some Eureka picks I took. One of those is his, where I put it into play, I believe, like 3 trikes off of Eureka, which was great. And then on his turn, he Wheel of Fortune, and that reloaded my hand for another Eureka with several more cards, including like 2 clones. So I think at the turn I killed him, I had 5 trikes in play, which was pretty fun. Game 2, I had got another great Eureka off. I put into play a Triskelion and a Polar Kraken, but unfortunately Mike had his drops were a Control Magic and a Chaos Orb. He Control Magicked my Trike, end of turn Chaos Sword my Kraken, and then proceeded to kill me with my own Trike. And then game 3, I just stalled on mana a bit, and Counterburn just went to town, doing what Counterburn does very fast deck, and I believe he was able to counter as I was trying to get something off towards the end, but couldn't do it. Great run, Mike. Again, another top 8, so congratulations, and it was real nice to meet you. Round 5 was against the legendary Shaman Ben. So Shaman Ben was on a Pox deck. He took this one down 2-1. Game 1 he won. I had I believe it was a turn 1 Eureka with Force of Will backup, and it made a huge misplay. In response to the Force of Will, Ben did a Demonic Consultation. I thought he was going to consultate for Pox so that he could, take care of my Eureka thing, not knowing that he had discs in his deck, and so I let it resolve, thinking I'll just Force of Will what he gets, and instead he got a disc, and then he put the disc into play with the Eureka. So I really should have just Force of Willed the Demonic Consultation. Lesson learned from next time, when Eureka's on the stack, definitely just force the Demonic Consultation. But then after that, he was able to just put the screws down and take it. Game 2 was an incredible game. I ended up casting 3 Eurekas in that game. He had answers for the first 2 in Pox's, but was not able to deal with the 3rd Eureka, and the fatties that I put in from that one got there and then won game 2. And then game 3, he was just too disruptive. Stripped cards out of my hand, blew up lands, early Poxes. I could never get up to the mana, just doing what the Pox deck does, and that was that. So, congrats, Ben. I've been chatting with Ben for years and years. This is the first time I got to meet him in person, because we don't travel to a lot of the same events, so it's fantastic to finally meet the legendary Shaman Ben in person and get a big old hug from him, so that was great. One of the highlights of the weekend for sure. And then round 6 was against Will Kirkwood, who won the event last year. So again, I'm going to jump to my deck real quick. Funnily enough, whoops, that is Will's deck. My deck this is very similar to last year's Bootleggers Ball deck. I was unfortunately not able to make last year's due to family vacation, but this was the deck I was going to run, so I just ran it back this year. Will, completely independent of me, brought this almost same deck. Off the top of my head, I believe he had a second Polar Kraken and a Time Twister. The difference is, obviously, he was running 60 cards, I was at 62. And he had a Mind Twist as well, and I think I have an extra mana source. So I think that's really the only differences in the deck. So it would have been real cool if I'd been there last year to have both those decks so close to each other just kind of show up. And Will was able to win this event last year, so huge congrats to Will. His tournament did not go so well this year. He and I both rolled into the final round, round 6, at 2 and 3. But he was also on Eureka, just a slightly different version. We had actually stayed at the same Airbnb Friday night and kind of talked this one over and done some last minute tweaks to the deck, so that was a lot of fun. But Will's Eureka deck here is really, his whole goal is he wants to get a Polar Kraken and an Instill Energy into play and smash someone in the face with a Polar Kraken. So he's got a lot of fast mana. Again, the Lotus, the Moxen, the Mana Crypt, Birds, Elvish Spirit Guides. He went with those over the Timber Walls to try and ramp out the Krakens, a Nicol Bolas, and Deep Spawn. Nicol Bolas is a real fun card. I typically do not run them in Eureka builds. I used to back in the day, but I found that I would cast Eureka, they would play most of their cards, and then Nicol Bolas really didn't do much. But it might be a little different in this deck because he does have the Instill Energy, so he can at least give it kind of pseudo haste, allow it to attack, so get the swing in, and then it kind of becomes a big ball lightning. Maybe you can berserk it to deal 14, or worst case, if you can't pay the upkeep, it just dies and you did 7 damage, or it sticks around and you got a nice 7/7 flyer. But I typically don't run Bolas. I will run other Elder Dragons, but not so much Bolas these days. But it is very cool to see it. And then the 4 Deep Spawn, Merchant Scroll, Ancestral, Time Walk, Time Twister, Consultation, Tutor. He is running Limdul's Vaults, which again is another kind of, not quite a tutor, but allows you to find a card you need and potentially, depending on how that 5 cards rolls out, find multiple cards that are worthwhile and kind of stack your deck a little bit. So Will and I played. It was a fantastic matchup. I was able to take it down 2-1 and claim kind of the unofficial Eureka King title of the Eureka versus Eureka matchup. So that was a lot of fun. Again, one of the highlights of the weekend. So at the end, I finished 3-3 with a 9-8 individual games record. So pretty good. The deck felt great. It was very competitive. All 3 of my match losses were in 3 games. So it was great. I had a blast. A lot of fun. I do have a few kind of action Eureka shots. I went into this event saying I need to do better about taking pictures when I get a good Eureka, and I started off strong. This one is against Chris in round 1. As you can see, I Eureka'd in 3 Deep Spawn, and all he had was a Serrated Arrows and 2 Javeliers. So that one went real well for me. I won that whole match 2-0, but that one won me the game, being able to swing in for 18 and also have mana, not at least initially, but to give it Shroud to protect from any swords or anything like that after I get to untap. So that was great. Another one I took, this one was against Dan on his blue-white deck. Trike, a Mahamodi, and a Polar Kraken, and he dropped in 2 City of Brass and 2 Black Vice and a Serendip. Obviously, the Black Vice didn't do anything to me because I just dumped my hand with Eureka, so that was another great one for me. I think he might have swords the Polar Kraken. I don't remember that actually doing much, or maybe not, but yeah, the Polar Kraken's a lot of fun one. I just didn't get to do much with it for the day. People either had removal for it or just, again, I was only running a 1 of, unlike Will's deck where he had a lovely 4 in there. And then another one I have is this. This was against Mike in round 4 and his counterburn. So again, this was the 3 trikes and a Mahamodi off of Eureka, where all he dropped in was some land and a Serendib. And again, on his turn, he cast a wheel, which got him some good cards, but really ramped me up into a second Eureka with, again, I think it had 2 clones and maybe another Mahmoudi. The clones came in as trikes, and it was just all over. So, unfortunately, those are the only 3 I took. Again, I did a real bad job. I always tell myself, take better jobs with the pictures. Like I said, at Shaman's Ben's game, I had fantastic 3 Eurekas in the one game I won, and I didn't take a picture of any of them, so that's annoying. I'll do better next time, I say, but knowing me, I probably won't. It's just too involved in hanging out and the chats and playing the game that I don't think to pull out my phone and take a picture when something like this goes off. So, unfortunate, but that's just me. So that was it. That was my Bootleggers Ball 2025. I had an amazing time. Again, big shout out to the Music City Ultra group, to Casey, who was kind of running the event, Sonny, Alan, you guys all great to see again, and thanks for putting on and such a welcoming event. It's great to see people that I hadn't seen in a little while. Again, I missed last year's, and not all those guys travel out to the East Coast stuff that I usually go to. And it was fantastic to meet some new people, especially some people that I had just chatted with for years on Discord, like Shaman Ben, DTC, Brian Boolean, all those guys that I've been talking to for feels like a decade now. It's probably 7 years. But finally, just had an event where we could meet in person, and that was amazing. So, one of the best parts about Old School Magic is just the community and meeting these guys, especially guys that you form a real bond with, and over just playing webcam games and chatting to the Discord, and you finally meet them in person, and it's just as great as you would expect it to be. So, but thanks everyone for watching, and I will catch you next time.